I'm decluttering. Hey guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, about 2 to 3 times per year, I like to do like declutter videos where I go through a specific category in my collection and then do a declutter on camera. But behind the scenes, I'm like kind of continually decluttering things from my collection, just like reevaluating if they have a space still and passing them along. For most of my decluttering, I do sell things on Poshmark, some things I give away to friends or family, and of course for PR products, I never sell them. But especially because I do like to and get to review so many things, I also like to just every now and then go through my collection, reevaluate what I actually am using and what's kind of falling to the wayside, and just like kind of Marie Kondo that shit. So today I wanted to share with you guys some things I'm decluttering and share with you guys why I'm decluttering them. Some of them I'm getting rid of because I've just kind of fallen out of love with them. Some of them I'm getting rid of because I feel like I have too many things in that same kind of niche. Don't want anymore. And some of these things I don't have a tangible reason. I don't want them in my life anymore. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little declutter video. Full details of this look should already be on Instagram. I am really lime green today. Check out the holiday merch if you're a dewy ho ho ho. And without further ado, let's just get into it. In my last eyeshadow palette declutter video, I really hesitated on the Ace Beauté Classical Paradise palette. This is a palette that I really loved last fall. The color scheme in here is beautiful, very fall appropriate. This is a really cool indie brand, and they came out with this Paradise collection of 4 different palettes with really cool color schemes. So this one was my personal favorite, but I hadn't used it in a while. So in that video I said, if I don't start using this again, especially during autumn, I'm gonna get rid of it. And even though I really love this palette, its time has come because I just added the new Melt Vita palette to my collection, and like the color schemes are kind of almost the same. There are a few more deeper reds in here than this palette, and this one has more shimmers, but I actually don't really like the Ace Beauté shimmers in the first place. And if we're talking formula, I like this palette a lot better. If we're talking packaging, I like this palette a lot better. If we're talking just general inspiration, how I feel when I look at the palettes, I love both color stories, honestly, but I just feel like I have had my time with this one and I can't really keep these 2 palettes around that look so similar. So I'm going to stay true to my word, and I'm passing along this Ace Beauté palette. This one, because I bought it, will be on my Poshmark, I believe, but yeah, I'm getting rid of this. And if you told me a year ago that I would be decluttering this from my collection, I probably would not have believed you, but yeah.
Yes.
This next thing isn't so much one product as it is an entire category of products. I made the executive decision to declutter pretty much all of my pink toned highlighters. So this one that I have here is Becca Prismatic Amethyst. This is actually my only Becca highlighter right now. It's basically just a pink toned highlighter. I also passed along my Ofra Pillow Talk and my Cloud 9 shade. I'm keeping my Kaleidos pink tone highlighter, but pretty much every other just like pink highlighter I am decluttering just because I don't look good in pink highlighter and I need to stop. I've spent a lot of time trying to convince myself that I do. I'm somebody who definitely has very strong yellow undertones. So even when I was applying this like kind of lime green eyeshadow right now, it shows up a little bit more yellow on me and blends out to be yellow just because I have yellow undertones in my skin. I am half Japanese and my white side has some Mediterranean blend in me, so I do have a bit of a yellow / olivey skin tone, and that does not mix well with pink. I don't think I look bad in pink tone highlighters, I just don't think that they flatter me as much as other people's. And it definitely does not make sense for me to have a bunch of them laying around if I'm not using them because I don't feel good in them. So I'm passing along this Becca one as well as a bunch of other pink tone highlighters. I'm keeping 1 or 2 just to have as an option, but I just don't want to have a large proportion of my collection being highlighters that I don't really feel look good on me, if that makes sense. I'm actually getting rid of quite a few different concealers. I just kind of like having fewer concealers in my collection, I've started to realize. I love testing out new foundations, but usually when I find a concealer that I really enjoy, I'm kind of just diehard for that. So these aren't necessarily bad concealers, I'm just trying to get rid of ones that don't really wow me, if that makes sense. So number 1 that I'm getting rid of is the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer. And I actually really love this one for a while, but what I've been doing lately with my makeup collections is every time I come home to film videos, I've been bringing like a new set of products up to college, so I have a new thing to like wear for about a month or so. And for October, this was the only concealer I was using, and after the first 2 days, I realized like, I don't love this concealer that much. It's not bad, but it's not like anything transcendent. It is a pretty pricey concealer. I just found myself really missing my Too Faced concealer or my Cover FX concealer or even my Tarte Shape Tape. Like I just didn't want to use this one anymore. So I'm going to be passing along this one. I'm also getting rid of my Milk Makeup Flex concealer. This I think is very mediocre. There's really not anything super special about this formula in my opinion. It's like the Laura Mercier one. I'll use it if I have it as my only option, but it wouldn't be the first thing I reach for, and especially if I have all my other concealers, this will not get used. So passing this along. And then the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. I really tried to find the hype in this one. I think everyone freaked out about this when it first launched just because the applicator is big, so that must mean they're duping Tarte Shape Tape. No? It's a full coverage concealer, but I don't feel like it sits the best on my under eyes. It doesn't look egregious, but it doesn't look like seamless and beautiful either, and that's kind of what I'm going for. So this I'm going to be passing along. And just in general, I think there are better affordable options for concealers anyways. I'm kind of a bronzer hoarder. Specifically for matte bronzers, specifically for high-end matte bronzers, I just like collecting them. I have to go through and swatch every single bronzer, and shocker, they kind of all looked the same, and I just like let go of a few things that don't really excite me to use. So my first one I'm getting rid of is my Anastasia Beverly Hills bronzer. I don't love the formula of these. Really pigmented, which makes them kind of harder to blend. It can get weirdly muddy on the face, which is not a good look for bronzers. I like my bronzers to blend nice and seamlessly into like my contour, especially because I don't really set my face down with powder. They gotta be able to blend on a slightly damp foundation. So today I'm wearing the Fenty Beauty bronzer, and it just you know. But this bronzer, it's just like you have to put in the effort, and I don't like putting in the effort. So this is one of the few Anastasia products where I'm just like, y'all did not kill it with this formula. What? What? I'm also getting rid of this bronzer from Stila. This is their Stay All Day Contouring Bronzer in the shade Light. And you know what? It's actually a really nice bronzer. And now I might be talking myself into keeping... No. It's actually a very big pan. Really gorgeous color as well. And honestly, good formula. It's just that I have so many bronzers like this already. I tried this out to see if it was kind of like a dupe for the Marc Jacobs Coconut Bronzer. It's similar in color, but I feel like the Marc Jacobs one is a lot smoother and softer of a formula, whereas this is just like... it's there. So I'm passing these two bronzers along. This is actually a very new release. To be fair, I didn't buy this. This was sent to me. I do think it's a beautiful palette. This is the Alter Ego Sahara palette. It's the dupe for Natasha Denona Biba. Really beautiful all neutrals palette. The thing is, I wasn't really interested in the Biba palette when it came out. I was like, that's a beautiful neutral palette, but I don't need it, and I didn't feel like the color scheme, at least for neutrals, was really what I look for in a neutrals palette. I was excited when this palette came to me, and I did test it out for a bit, and I was like, yeah, this is a nice neutrals palette. But I do notice myself decluttering a higher proportion of like PR products rather than products I spent my own money on, just because honestly, I did enjoy having this, but it wasn't something that I would have bought for myself. And because of that, I don't really have that like emotional connection to it. Like when you see something and you decide, oh, I want that product, you kind of develop a little bit of an emotional connection to that product, and then it's harder to declutter. Whereas this one, I didn't really have that, but I don't need it clearly, so I'm gonna pass this one along. I think it's a really beautiful palette, and I think whoever gets this will enjoy it. So yeah. Broad category, I'm decluttering all the liquid lipsticks I've decided are too drying for me. I've been on that gloss shit, clearly, but just in general, I've just been loving cream lipsticks and satin lipsticks and anything that's not overbearingly matte. Even today, I put on Kylie Candy K. This is the newer formula, so it's a little bit less drying than the original formula, which you'll see in a second. But even then, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put a gloss on it, so I put Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb on top. But yeah, I'm basically decluttering like so many liquid lipsticks. These are just a few that I want to show you guys. So the original Kylie formula, Kylie's gone through like quite a few different reformulations of her products. So these are iterations of the matte liquid lipsticks that I find to be particularly uncomfortable, whereas her current formula that she's on right now, I feel like these are a little bit thinner, less cakey, and gross on the lips. So these I can tolerate, these I can intolerate. The ABH liquid lipsticks, these just been drying, and I would love to see them reformulate these because they do have a lot of really beautiful shades. In particular, Veronica is a shade that I adore, but I cannot wear. I'm getting rid of that, and then I'm also getting rid of this Mellow Matte Liquid Lip Paint. I normally like things that are described as lip paints, kind of like the Fenty Beauty Stunna Lip Paints. These are like very thin paint texture, and they go on so smoothly that I don't even feel like they're super dry. This one, yeah, no. I've decided that the time has come for my Huda Beauty Sapphire obsessions. This palette, I did enjoy having it for a bit. It is a really good, well put together, cohesive color story, and I just generally love the idea of having these types of monochromatic palettes. The formula's okay, but it's not like the best blues I've ever tried, and when I do a blue eyeshadow look, I never really reach for this anymore. So I would recommend this to anybody who wants blue eyeshadows because they don't have any in their collection. Like, this is a good place to start. But if you already have multiple blues and you're like, maybe add some more to my collection, I don't think this is necessary. I'm getting rid of a bunch of like single shadows. So ColourPop Super Shocks, this is one from Suva Beauty. My opinion on like singles like this have kind of changed. I really love and really use them a lot when they are a shade that I couldn't get in a palette. So for example, this is ColourPop Creamsicle from the Halo Top collaboration. It's just a basic pink shimmer shade. If I have a shade in a single, but I also have a kind of similar version of that shade in a palette, best believe I'm going to use the shade in the palette. I only use them if they're an effect or a texture or something that I can't get out of a palette that I already own. Like this shade from Suva Beauty, it's just a basic like eggplant shade, and this like pink metallic, don't need it. So I'm getting rid of all my like non-unique singles, whereas the types of singles I am keeping would be like ColourPop Ritz. This is like a glittery eye topper from heaven. Or Sugar Pill Velouria. This is like a beautiful lavender, and I can't find any shades like this in palettes, so keeping these types of shades but getting rid of like singles that don't really serve a purpose that I couldn't find a palette, you know? Alright, last and final, I'm getting rid of this Makeup Revolution Pro Blur Stick Face Primer. This is probably just me, it's a personal thing, but I am scared of failure. I'm scared of products like this where you like rub it directly on your face and then put the cap back on. I'm a germaphobe, which is a good thing for going into pre-med, but also I just feel like bacteria-wise, especially because I do have acne, swiping this on my face and then like putting it back to fester does not really bode well for me and would make me feel comfy using it. So this is a good blurring primer though, and it's huge. You get a whole 1.06 ounces in here, and that's a ton of products. I'm just not a fan of the concept of like stick products where I'm rubbing it all over my entire face. I'm fine with like a stick blush or a stick bronzer because I'm putting that on top of like a layer of foundation already, but like primer, that's my first step. Not a fan. Alright guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed products I'm decluttering. I hate when people do these types of videos and they clickbait it like products I'm throwing out. You're not throwing them away, sis. You're giving them to your friends. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed down below, and also follow me on Instagram to see makeup looks like this posted sometimes, or thirst traps like this posted sometimes.
Big boobs.
And if you made it to the very end of this video, you get the bonus beam. Love you. Bye.
I have to use my calculator by Friday. You have to use your calculator? I have to read by Friday. You have to read? I have to think by Friday. You have to think? I have to send an email by Friday. Email? I have to complain by Friday. Complain? Yeah, I have to read those complaints on Yelp by Friday. I got nothing to do by Friday.